Hi everyone, can you give an old pair of boots new life? Well, that's what I did with just one new accessory. Let's go to work. Your supply list will be in the information box of this video. Remember to take a trip over to Amateur Decorating Like a Pro, my other channel, to see what other things I've been doing with faux fur. Let's go, girls. Let's take care of our bodies. Welcome to DIY Body with Catherine Holt. While polishing my boots, I realized I could really use some boot shapers. Unfortunately, those things can be a little expensive. These are those swimming safety noodles that you can get at Dollar Tree for $1 or any dollar store. The length of my noodle foam is 16 inches and is cut at an angle. The length of my fleece measures at 20 inches by 10 inches. No matter what kind of project I'm working on, I love a clean seam, so I'm only creating a neat fold which will finish off my noodle.
So you want to take that short point. Remember, I cut at an angle. You do not have to do this. I just found it best. This part goes right down into the boot, and it eventually just kind of curves a little bit, and I really do like that. So you want to go ahead and put a little bit of your glue right here, about the length of that, on the edge. Don't mind the smoke, and then just take your noodle along the edge, and again, that shortest point, I start right here and I just roll it. Make sure it sticks, applying a little bit of pressure, and then I just roll toward me. I've got plenty of distance to tuck on the inside.
Next, I just roll the fabric toward me and I'm stretching as I go. So this is a really quick process. I take a little bit more hot glue and I apply it to the top of that fold that I created, and we are all done. This project is completed. Now, if you are a serious DIYer, go ahead and dress these up with lace or ribbons or even little snaps. It's up to you. Now you can use any kind of socket you want. I just wanted to show you 3 different lengths. You can buy all of these at Walmart for like $2.97 for a pack of 2. And they're really great for any one of these boot toppers. You want to make sure they have a good stretch, that they actually stretch to the opening of the boot, and that you can actually attach your fur to it and it will just fold over. So I'm going to actually use the footie in this one, the first one there on the left. It'll fit nicely and it's short, and only part that I want is actually the band of the sock. And this long one here is really great for a legging style boot topper because it actually looks like tights when you put it on. I'm not going to make the last 2. I'm just going to make that shorty one with the actual activewear sock. So we're using the activewear footie. I'm giving myself one more stretch test. I'm really concentrating on stretching the band of the sock. Now I'm actually going to cut the sock band about 1 inch below. You see how where the cables kind of change in design? You have the thick part of the band and then it gets a little thin toward the body of the sock. You want to cut about 3/4 of an inch below that change. That's the best way that I can say it, so that you can just basically use that as a stitching line.
So this fur was folded, and one half of it is a bit wavy and matted because it was on the bottom, and this one is nice and smooth. So I've got 2 different pieces of black fur. I really like the idea of using this one on the boots. I think it gives it a different texture. Then I can use this one for something else that I have in mind. And see how pretty that would look with just a different texture on it?
For each boot topper, my fabric measures at 10 inches high and 15 inches wide. you need to cut your fabric in the direction of the hair flow on the fur. I've been excited about dusting off my sewing machine and sewing on a regular basis. So I'm pinning and preparing to sew.
Are even. Now if you feel like your fur is a little thick, you can cut this away on one side.
It's a haircut, what can I say? And here's what it would look like if you trimmed away a little bit of the mane or hair. My seam is complete, and as you can see, I've got a little fur sticking out from all of that fur being pushed down by the sewing machine. Just trim away the edges, and we are now ready to assemble the rest of the topper. I'm going to turn my sock band inside out and place it on the cylinder. I'm using one of those Dollar Tree flower vases. This is actually stretching out the band. Now I've already stitched my fur trim, which you saw earlier. I have turned it inside out and I have placed it on the cylinder, and I'm attaching it to the band of the sock. Keep in mind that both the band and the fur trim are inside out as I pin them together. Now it is my preference to pin vertically. I'm actually stretching the band as I go. You don't have to do it this way. You can pin horizontally. It is your preference. It's time to sew, guys. All right, let's look one more time. You can see the band is underneath the fur trim. Place it on my sewing machine, and I am going to stitch it in brown thread so that you can actually see the stitching. So it's real easy to stretch it while you're sewing, because you know the band of your sock stretches when you put your foot in it. You definitely want to make sure that you're stretching this band and the fur at the same time, and that way it won't be too tight when you get ready to wear it. Again, notice how I am stretching the entire thing while I am sewing. Now you can hand stitch this little projects just as fast, and it will be just as beautiful. Just remember to stretch as you're hand stitching. Now I realize this is black fur, and a lot of the details may be difficult for you to see on camera, so let me explain. We have one long black fur tube attached to a sock band, and all we have to do now is fold our fur tube in half, and everything is still turned on the reverse. Keep that in mind. And we're going to tuck everything that we have just stitched on the sewing machine underneath that fur, so we can do a simple little hand stitch around the edge. I find it to be a little messy if I were to stitch this on the sewing machine, so I'm just simply going to get a needle and thread and do a quick little hand stitch all the way around really quick, but tuck everything underneath nice and neat. And we have just made our first faux fur boot trim. Now your hand stitching doesn't have to be perfect because you cannot see it. You're just simply taking a hold of that fur and you're stitching it to that thick band that you just stitched earlier in the sewing machine. You're not stitching directly to the sock. I like for my things to look neat both underneath and on top. I think that's important if you're going to be a seamstress. Now you don't have to hold it while you're doing your hand stitch. You can put it back on the cylinder and just spin it around while you're sewing.
This is what you have on the outside, and the faux fur flows downward. And if I want, I can go even shorter with my top. Short or tall. Love it. Now here's how we will apply our formers. And just tuck it around the sleeve area.
Now I think of myself as having a very edgy, relaxed kind of style. So adding something like this to my wardrobe is really updating it. And I really like it. Now this is DIY Body. So why am I talking about shoes? Well, shoes protect our feet, and our feet are a part of our body. So let's make sure that we're taking care of the things that go on our body. Well guys, I think adding these coat cuffs / boot toppers to my wardrobe is just the thing that I need. I haven't had the need to really go shopping for shoes in about 3 years. And I've already taken my boots to the shoe repairman and I've already polished and buffed. So when this fall and winter hits and it gets a little chilly, I'm all ready to go. Thank you to my existing and new subscribers for turning on your notifications. Click that cogwheel if you're subscribing on the internet, and then click the box. Send me notifications for this channel. If you're subscribing on your mobile phone, remember, if you want to be notified, turn on your notifications. You will be notified with every new video from this channel. You see that message, you are good to go. I thank you for considering me to be a part of your subscription list. Thanks a lot for watching, and as always, stay in prayer and stay healthy.